Welcome to Geek Outings. May the 4th be with you here for lifelong friends from 4 different cities talking about geeky things because that's just what we do. Today we are covering Clone Wars. If you look in the background, season 7, episode 11 called Shattered, part 3 of what I assume will be a movie, and the next one will be our last. Editor coming out of San Antonio, Texas, as Straughter knows.
All right. Hey, as always, Bobby Joel here. Happy to be chiming in on this episode from Santa Monica, California. One of 4 lifelong friends in 4 different cities getting together to geek out on the stuff we love. And oh my God, I'm going to skip my whole rest of my intro. Let's just get to the geeking on and talk about this episode.
This is Boba Fresh coming from the 9th level of Gehenna. Looking forward to talking to y'all. Spoilers.
Rob, Lucy, excited to be here. 4 lifelong friends from the same city, now currently in different cities, but watching the same shows, just like we did when we were kids. Let's get into Clone Wars, fellas.
So the episode starts off with Darth Maul being captured by Ahsoka. Man, really speaks to her level of badassery, if that's even a verb or adverb or adjective.
No, if it's not, it should be. I agree.
Episode starts, another wonderful episode. Ahsoka shows off her badassery once again, and the Jedi Council shows off their flaws and stupidity once again by summoning Ahsoka to a meeting about Darth Maul just as they sent Anakin away to spy on Palpatine. You'd think they'd want Anakin, Ahsoka's former master, in on this conversation as one of the most important things, and Yoda talks about how important the next phase of what the Jedi is going to do if the Jedi Order is going to survive. But they're also talking about committing treason and using Anakin as their tool to spy on the Emperor, which really sets them down a dark road, which Yoda says, we're heading down a dark path if we do this. So we have to be very careful. Why weren't they careful doing this?
Well, not only that, they use that opportunity to play one more head game with Ahsoka. Oh, brought in Darth Maul. Was that as a Jedi? You know what I mean? Like trying to give her some sort of test. And what I was going to say also to Ed's saying her displays of badassery, I feel like she was excelling beyond Jedi or Sith and finding her own thing, you know, and just becoming strong in the Force, you know, just like the gray users or whatever.
I don't think that Ahsoka was going to tell them whatsoever, because I don't think that Ahsoka still doesn't believe Maul. I don't think that she believes Maul, honestly, until on the ship and clones. Sorry, I don't want to get too far ahead, but all of that ends up unfolding. But this goes back to what I was saying earlier in earlier episodes, that they're tied into certain things having to happen. And when they force their hand on coincidences, bad writing ends up occurring because of that. And the fact that they wanted this scene to be from episode 3 forced all of these, I don't want to say plot holes, but these characteristic inconsistencies that didn't make sense. Ahsoka should have told them, you know, like, but they wanted to be this cutesy little, like, oh my God, I remember seeing that before scene. And so all of a sudden Ahsoka's actions and thinking for the last 3 episodes now stall out just for a throwaway cameo. And I will say that Mace was acting super bitchy.
No, you're right, though, because you like, I know you've mentioned this on other episodes before, where Anakin is so badass, and then all of a sudden you get pulled back in to what a bitch he is in the movies, because you have to acknowledge that, and you saw that 100% this episode when you hear Anakin.
100%.
I need him.
It really reminded me of the fact that we're dealing no longer with this cool season 7 Anakin that we've seen built up, this dope movie that I would have loved to see. And all of a sudden he's become Hayden Christensen. And it is It is such a jarring shift in story.
It's messed up. So one thing that I noticed was when you see Ahsoka running around the starship, it already looks like any scene from Star Wars Episode 4, 5, or 6. You see stormtroopers running around. You see them scrambling. It looks very much like a scene from Episode 4 with Chewbacca and Han Solo and Luke and everyone. I think what that is showing us is that the Empire is already here. And it's something that Maul said himself in another episode. You don't realize the end is already done. Everything's already done. The Empire's already taken over. You just don't see it yet. And when you look at those little things in the background, you do realize, like, shit, I'm already watching Episode 4. Empire's already taken over.
Yeah, and I gotta give you guys props and thank you guys, because if it weren't for our talks prior to this episode, that whole inhibitor chip would have just came out of left field. And like, they did not tease it at all. Maybe they did a little bit in the Bad Bunch, right? Maybe they talked about their chips were a little wonky or something too, something like that. But I mean, still, it was like season 6, a 4 or 5 storyline arc that really went into it. But just, I'm glad I knew something about that, or else that whole, the middle third of that story would have just seemed like it came out of nowhere to me. So thank you.
So the 3, 2, 1, going into this after the conversation, the real star, or one of these stars of this episode, the music starts kind of building towards something we know is about to go down. And she has that conversation with Rex as she's leaving that meeting about why clones are even here because of the war, and that they're good friends. And then he's like, I have to go take this. New command orders have come down. And Ahsoka's like, I'm just going to hang back. You go get the orders. The music builds. And then you start hearing those Force voices getting, Jedi being lost to the Force or killed and becoming part of the Force.
Seeing Rex, his hands shake holding his helmet, was pretty powerful. He was trying to fight the order,
The music is John Williams once again, right? They like pulled in all the stops to, Maul's doing it, the Emperor's doing his voice. Like, they definitely made a movie out of this.
Oh, and also that can go back to that thing as well. We did that on our rehearsal taping yesterday. But yeah, Straughter, props on picking up that was motion capture. They had Ray Park come in to do motion capture fight scene for an episode of a cartoon. Yeah, they pulled out all the stops.
There's a lot of times that they do fan service and it fails, and this is one of the times where leaning into the fanfic per se and all of the hypotheticals that people have wondered of what was going to happen and getting to this point, it's super, super rewarding. And I think also after a year of disappointing endings for big show series, that this is very, very satisfying. Like this has definitely been better than Game of Thrones. Not to throw shade at Game of Thrones wrapping up poorly, but it was a very rushed story. And as fast as this story is moving, it is super, super rewarding and in depth. And Lucy's completely correct. The music was such a force within the entire episode. Like, they ended the literal episode on that note, and after ending the last episode on no music whatsoever, it's just been the bigger things tying into this smaller story that's literally being presented as a whole package, not just what's on screen, but what they know, we know as an audience and as a fan base. And it's been phenomenal.
Yeah, that music is synth music. It's horror music. Shout out to Sean Baker, who knows all about that synth horror music. Loves that shit. Let's get a lot lighter and talk about why there was less talking. There's a lot of droids in this episode. A lot of droid talking. Ahsoka and her connection with droids over organic beings.
But before we get to the droids, I feel like we made a good point that I wouldn't want to forget to mention, was that there's little subtle things that they do, which I just think are great, and that gives it rewatchability. Like Ahsoka not wanting to hurt her friends, even though they're trying to kill her, by not deflecting a single blaster bolt back at them, but using them to like escape. You know, it's a little thing like that that's like just shows her character and her, you know, I don't know, the core of her heart, sort of.
No, it's awesome that you see what we see, because you haven't watched her whole journey like we have, and for you to get that quickly is testament to this season and the writers representing her right.
And the dichotomy of her not hurting the clones, which are trying to kill her with her paint on them, and then Maul wrecking down that hallway.
Dude, that scene is a whole
taking off heads, smashing people, chopping arms.
You mean Magneto?
Going it all the way down.
Dude, that was the Rogue One Darth Vader. That was Rogue One Darth Vader. Walk through the hallway.
That's Magneto. That's who that was.
So I think that, it gets to the point that you guys are making. Like, it was dope. Like, we got to see everybody doing everything that they should be doing at this point, and none of it was disappointing. Like, we saw Ahsoka's friendship with the droids that's been building over all of these seasons really finally pay off and get to it. We see the droids do the very humane way of carrying Rex's body all the way through, like as hard as those lines are that they're drawn. Like, he was just he looked very comfortable. He looked like, if there was an IKEA chair that was just two droids like that, I think I might get it.
Mental note: plan a chair to pitch to IKEA droids. No,
but then we see Darth Maul doing what a Sith master should do, because he's a Sith master at this point. He's not an apprentice. He's had his own apprentice. He's studied and done his own thing. He's come back from being cut in two. That's something else that we always forget, because he walks so smoothly. He has no lower half. And I think that is so dope for it not to be an issue, but still be an existing plot point. But yeah, we see him tear through these clone troopers, and it is super rewarding, and also made me be like, this is Disney Plus?
I have a question for you guys, and I don't know if there's any right answer to it, but it brought it up again. You brought up the droids and Ahsoka's relationship with them. I feel like the lines that they've drawn between the clones and droids and the differences, similarities between them, have also skewed towards droids being sentient in some way. Like, I felt like that one droid sounded like an Ewok. They remember Ahsoka and revere her as much as she's like. It's like they seem to have some sort of spirit. Or, they're not just robots, not just automatons, you know?
Which is why when they get mind wiped at the end of episode 3, it's probably the worst thing ever in Star Wars.
And also, did Rex cap 2 of his dudes? Did that happen?
Yeah.
Because I didn't see him set shit to stun. Did he set them to stun? They didn't look like stun bolts, because stun bolts come out like little circles, right?
No, yes, for sure. He capped that.
2 of his dudes. So I just want to say that again comes to like one of those things for me. Like, maybe he specifically shot them in, like in the shoulder, in a non-vital part, but he definitely shot his brothers.
I mean, maybe he respected her more than them. So now that we're like almost towards the end, I really, really want to know, Bobby, what do you think about this season?
Great beginning, lackluster middle, and killer ending so far. Cool. Finishing strong. I mean, it's great. They opened strong with something that got your attention right away. If you have to put a weak story somewhere, you don't end a series with a weak story, and you don't start the last season with a weak story. So,
yo, this is Rob Strotter coming to you as editor from San Antonio, Texas, closing this bitch out. Peace.
Hey, this is Bobby Joe Cole coming at you from Santa Monica. Ooh. Hey, guys. I'm done. My outro's done.
Something, dark side. Beskar last episode of Clone Wars next week. This is Boba Fresh coming to you from San Francisco. Love each other, be good to each other, and I'll see you next week.
Hey, as always, great time hanging out with my close friends. Love y'all.
No, you gotta do me now. You gotta do me. 3, 2, 1.
The force is not with me. I'm drunk. Hi. Did I record this? Did I remember to record this episode? 4 lifelong friends, 4 cities that we're from. Shots.
I got it.
Hey, happy May the 4th, everybody. If you guys celebrate, look forward to closing this out next week and just looking forward to spending more time with you. And hopefully you guys are enjoying the content we're putting up. If you are, like, comment, subscribe. We'll try to do better at getting back to you when we can. Peace.